Confirmed. Leatherworking drums have been a hot topic since we first started working on Burning Crusade, since they would make leatherworking feel mandatory. In the first few patches of original Burning Crusade, the drums had a cast time and smaller radius, which limited their effective use. Leatherworking was an unattractive profession at the time, so the drums were improved in patch 2.3. That led to the fond memories we all have of drum rotations as one of the added layers of teamwork in later Burning Crusade encounters.
Oh, no!
Right now in the Burning Crusade beta, all leatherworking drums now have an uncommon and rare, i.e. greater version. Our current thinking is that the greater versions will be acquired via recipe drops from Zal Aman. While it's true that we're generally planning to implement items and spells and maps and everything else in the patch 2.4.3 state, this one stood out as something we should make an exception for. By default, we don't want to change the behavior of items from patch to patch, so we think the right thing to do is introduce the graded drums as a new item so that the behavior of the original item doesn't have to change.
Wow. Okay, so for those who don't know, what this means is you're going to have an 8-yard range drum until phase 4. Because Zolaman is the phase 4 content. I believe the first phase is Kara, Groll, and Magtheridon. Second phase is Tempest Keep, Serpent Shrine Cavern. Third phase is Hyjal and Black Temple. Fourth phase is Zolaman. And fifth phase is Sunwell. So this means that you, up until after Black Temple, will only have an 8-yard range drum. That's the change they're doing. Melee stacking is on the menu, boys.
I don't know what to say about this. What does this change? Why? I'm just speechless. I don't even know what to say about this.
This is to preserve this is to preserve the experience of the game, right? This is to preserve the experience of the game for the beginning of it. Because back in the day, people thought like drums sucked, and then they didn't go them until they got buffed in like they're saying 2.3. This, because they're releasing it in the final stage, the final version of the game, they're just saying we're going to preserve the experience of up to Black Temple the way it was, where people weren't opting into drums. But I think this is a little bit
underestimating the sweatiness.
Yeah, I was going to say I think this is a little bit optimistic, a little too optimistic that they think this is going to dissuade people from going drums, because drums work the way they do and give you a damage bonus. People will still go them. It just means that your healer's probably going to have to get within 8 yards of the fucking group that they're going to buff, you know? So you will probably have dedicated melee and dedicated ranged groups.
Oh, I'm not looking forward to this.
All right, KVax, how much do I owe you? I'm gonna get my checkbook out for this mainly stacking composition, like KVax.
Jesus, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, it's gonna be weird. This actually like. This makes me want to change my comp a little bit, because you know how like my composition has 4 melees in a group and then like a hunter. This probably means that the 4 melees are going to be the ones using drums, and the hunter will be the one using maybe like the speed drum or something for in between pulls, or they'll use a drum of restoration, or they'll use like a drum of battle for the AP before the pull. They'll be like using drums at the very beginning, right?
Yeah.
So they'll like walk up, and as they're pulling with misdirect, they'll probably drums their group for something, right? So that's kind of what I think it is. Might bring 25 leather workers still. Otherwise, you're just having the 4 people in your group who are going to be in melee be the ones using drums. So yeah, I would actually see this composition actually functions with drums almost perfectly already. In the current state, right? Man, so you have 2 range groups, and then you have 3 melee groups. So yeah.
It feels, man, this just feels so disconnected from the reality of what will actually happen. It's like it's a nice sentiment, but this isn't gonna work. I don't feel this is gonna work.
And A for effort. Yeah, all right. Yeah. No. But the thing is all this. So what this is genuinely going to do for the sweaty people and the speedrunners is this is going to make people still go for drums. It just means that you have to now dedicate at least 4 melee or 4 ranged in your group. So you will have dedicated melee and ranged groups. Having a mixed melee ranged group is just not going to be a thing. It's going to be too hard for them to function. You have to walk up before you use your drums kind of thing. So you're not going to have like a 3-2 melee range split. You're going to have 4 melee or 4 ranged in each group. That's what I see this doing. All this does is this locks groups down a little bit more into certain types of damage or certain types of or just range distribution. That's all this does in my mind.
Oh, and there's going to be a lot more raging when people don't keep in range and things like that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Exactly. Someone in chat says everyone's just going to be running around with range 8 now because that's just going to be the requirement.
8 is so small.
Oh my god.
8 is so small. You know what I would actually do here is I'd probably just mark the people in my group. So it's literally going to be Cthulhu positioning, but you're just like, all right, the group 5 is star, group 4, you guys, if you want drums, you group around orange, you group around circle, you guys are going to be triangle, group 3, group 2 is going to be, moon. It's like, yeah, I'll use 5 marks on my groups to show like where they need to stand during an encounter. And if I have to use more than, 3 marks in an encounter, oh no, people will lose their marks now.
Well, that sucks. Oh, man. Well,
are they going to make them have a cast time? Are they going to have cast time?
Man, remember earlier when we were saying how some things make the game more challenging but less fun? This seems like an example of that in action. More challenging but less fun.
Well, yeah, but the thing is, it's more challenging, less fun, because we're going to try to squeeze everything we can of it. What they did is they made the ease of access of people using drums harder. It didn't make it so they aren't going to use them. They didn't nerf them. It's just harder to use them. And people are just going to still do that. So, I think Tetsu's probably pretty happy right now because he said he was...
Tetsu's a drum fan? Yep.
I mean, he was somebody who was a fan of swapping professions and being locked into them and having to like min-max and be rewarded for dropping leatherworking, picking up enchanting, and then doing it over again. So I think he's probably pretty happy about this. It does add like a skill element. It also adds people to, get upset at. So, oh, man. Somebody... Madness Box in chat says people probably won't use them if they're more annoying to use. Papega. And no, that just isn't true. Here's how it works is if you're in a top guild and it's annoying to use, you're fucked because you have to still use them. And if you choose not to use them, you're probably getting kicked. So yeah, that's all it is how that there's some people who like, it's like annoying to do like certain things like level up engineering, drop engineering, pick it up again, swap it. And it's like, yeah, you have to do that if you want to be in a top guild. So you have to go leatherworking here and use your drums on a rotation in party chat if you want to be in a top guild. So just because it's annoying does not mean people aren't going to do it.
Yeah, especially since raid rosters are shrinking. Like you are going to have other raids, but if you want to be in the speedrun raid team 1 when they go for that speedrun raid, you're the max sweaty.
Yep. All right, so what are the comments? There's already 10 comments on this, right? Like, what is the initial knee-jerk reaction of the community?
Someone wants tinnitus.
Well, yeah. Well, that sucks. Really doesn't fix things.
Oh, God. The community is going to have a field day on this one. Absolutely the wrong take.
It's still mandatory, right?
Yeah.
Like, if your goal is to not make it mandatory, this is not the change.
Guess I'm rolling leatherworking. That sucks.
Yeah. It's like, so you want drums to be mandatory anyway, and the nonsense you said about them not being mandatory was a lie. This will 100% still have leatherworking be mandatory in top guilds. They just stack for the effect, right? Yeah. No, this actually just helps me more.
You know what?
This helps me more.
This just makes me worried. This just makes me lose a little bit of confidence in Blizzard that they thought this was something that could work.
Yeah. And Madness Box says, I just wish Blizzard gave reasoning for their decisions like ever. They just did, but their reasoning is wrong. They said, we want to make leatherworking not mandatory, and we're going to have it scale, and then later in Sunwell, it'll be mandatory. It's like, because drums sucked, we're going to make them suck at the start. It's like, just because they suck doesn't mean we won't fucking use them. No, they didn't suck. Like that's the thing that I think is out of touch with the original comment. If you go back to K-Vax's thing, was he said that people weren't using leatherworking near the start of TBC at all. because they were just annoying to use. People weren't that tryhard back then. The game has changed. And this was my point with like, there's a difference between classic and a difference between vanilla, right? Classic World of Warcraft, people didn't min-max the same way. Or sorry, in vanilla World of Warcraft, people didn't min-max the same way. In classic, it's a different game because an MMORPG is influenced by the people who play it and how they play it. It directly influences you. So it is a different game. It is the same game from Blizzard, but it is played differently. Therefore, it is a different game because it's an MMORPG. So here, to think that this would stop people in this day and age in 2021 is absolutely just, it is head in the dirt. Like you were full on, what is it, emu, ostrich? Like you're full on ostrich right now. Just trying to think that this is going to work. It's not. It's not going to work.
I just don't even know who had this idea. You could ask almost any classic player, and the first thing they would say, this isn't going to work. It's not going to work.
At this point, just give me the fucking other drums back where it's 40 yards. Just give me the other drums back. You're literally like...
This is your plans.
How about no change? How about no changes, bro? How about no changes, okay? Like this... Just give me the other drums back at that point. Come on.
See, this is their plan. This is their plan. They're just going to mess things up so much that everyone will stop asking for Classic Plus. They're just we're going to go back in time, back to the no changes train.
They were like, yeah, they're like, wow, we said no changes. You guys got mad about that. You want changes? You want some fucking changes? Here's some changes, man. They're going to be like, whoa, stop. Wait. I didn't ask for this. No more changes, please. Put the belt away. Blizzard, please.